Hey guys, welcome to Split. Today we're talking about the Nothing Ear 1. These guys. This is Carl Pei's first product from the company Nothing. In a nutshell, they're a $100 pair of earbuds that have active noise canceling and have a nice transparent design. There was a ton of hype that followed them on social media, and it created sort of like a mini following, almost like a cult following for this device. Is it worth your $100? Does it stack up against the things you buy today in terms of Apple vis-a-vis Samsung? I don't know. You tell me. Let's talk about it. So starting with the case design. The case design is reminiscent of a cassette tape for those of you who were born in the dinosaur age when I was born. That whole transparency right through, it's pretty cool. It's a tad bigger than your AirPods Pro case, but not so big that you can't slide it into your pocket. When you cover it, there's a dimple at the top. It is functional. It is designed to hold down the earbuds in place if you look at it, but it's not centralized, so you can't use it as a perfect fidget spinner if you want to, but you can just fidget with it. Regardless, doesn't matter. When it comes down to the earbuds themselves, the design is reminiscent of an AirPod Pro, right? It looks like it, but not exactly, especially when you come to the stem, which is where the main difference starts to kick in. That whole transparent design, Nothing is going for. Nothing, try to blur the line between man and technology. That ethos comes into play here. And what they've done here, you might think, so what? It's a tear-down case. It's not as easy as it sounds to make that happen. Because if you think about it, if you take your AirPods today and break them apart, or somehow get rid of the white coating on top, you're gonna see a lot of glue and wires that are hanging around that aren't perfectly placed to give a neat aesthetic look. So there is a bit of engineering that went into this to make it look the way it looks, down to the perfect placed dots, indicators to help you pick which color is which right out the box without having to read inscriptions of left or right for dummies like me, which I think it's a nice design touch, in my opinion anyway. Each one is really light, about 4.7 grams, so you can wear them pretty much for as long as you want. They're super light. I wore them for a very long time. I could barely feel they were there at all. And they have IPX4 water resistance. Well, technically splash resistance. So they will survive light rain and working out, which is good. But don't dunk these, except you're looking for the sound of silence forever. Just don't dunk them. They're not built to take those higher end cost model. And again, this is $100, so keep in mind to limit your expectations. So pairing these is not hard. There's a yay and an A. Yay, it's easy to pair. Pop it open, Android device is gonna find it and tell you, hey, do you want to pair to these guys? And you're gonna say yes, and boom, you're done. However, every time you open them up, for Android, it will automatically pair back up. But for iOS, you have to go dig into the Bluetooth settings and pick them out every time. Yes, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Also, there is no unique pairing experience when you do this with a regular Android versus the Nothing Phone 1, which is a product from this company itself. You would think because it's the same ecosystem, you would have that sort of unique pairing experience where you get from your AirPods with your iPhone or your Buds with your Samsung. No, it's the same experience, which I don't know, maybe a software update in the future could fix that. Or no, maybe they're not going for that. Remember, the phone does run close to stock Android, so maybe they're just trying to leave a generic clean experience, but hey, the Pixels do have a unique pairing experience, so why not these guys as well? Like most AirPods, they support tap controls. I just kind of turned them on outside my ear. Unlike some AirPods, not most, they do limit you to the amount of control you can allocate per earbud, right? So it favors double and triple taps over single tap. I probably figure they don't want to do single taps because of accidental input, but double and triple taps is sometimes a bit cumbersome, and there's a hold down function. But it does have a unique swipe up and down, which is cool to turn up volume and volume down. And it does work most of the time. Sometimes, like most capacitive touches, it could ignore you. It'll register the input and ignore you, but most of the time it works as it should. My friend at work has the white version, and we sort of just put that through his paces over the last couple of months, but it's nice. All in all, control features are decent. It does have an automatic in-ear detection, so Typically when you take them out, they pause. When you put them back in, they will play. Maybe 90% of the time this worked. Sometimes, just like in my hand just now, it could come on because it assumes that you've put them in your ear, but I guess that's a proximity thing, which again makes logical sense. For $100, you get active noise canceling, but you don't get active noise canceling like you would get on the WF-1000 XM4s. No, you're not paying almost 3 times the price, or the Bose Quiet Comforts. That's not happening here. But it is there, and it does work. It has basically 2 levels. It goes from transparency mode, which amplifies the sound around you, to just basically turning it off. When it's on, it does help with the bass feedback on this, which I will talk about later and how it sounds. So we can't talk about the experience without talking about the app, what controls it, that sits on your smartphone. You know, everything has an app these days. In this particular case, the app is rather meh, and by meh, I mean it's really basic. Typically, most apps would let you mess with your EQ settings, adjust them, you know, bar by bar, but this will not. This will just give you presets, as in more bass, more treble, no bass, that kind of thing, and you're forced to take whatever has been preset in there. You can't tweak and adjust them to your particular taste. Not a great thing for audiophiles, but if you're just an average listener, maybe they are just doing you a favor by helping you make the decision without worrying about the complications. And other than that, you can toggle the transparency mode, check battery levels, turn on and off in-ear detection if it's failing you too much, you know, if you have like really big ears and it's maybe just flying into your brain, I don't know. But that's really it. Oh yeah, and you can just adjust what you want the left and right earbuds to do in terms of control settings, which are also a bit limited, like I said earlier. But that's really all the app does. It's simple, it works as designed. It's not gonna fry eggs or, you know, connect to the mothership in space. It's all right. It's cool, okay? Don't overthink it. If you're vain, like me, a lot of everything I've said sort of has impact on your choice of buying these. But if you're just here for the sound, you know, you're like Ninja, I just want to hear what they sound like, I don't care if they're floating around, then I'm happy to report that these things were designed with teenage engineering. If you've never heard of them, Google them. They make synth equipment, really solid synth equipment. I think they have affiliation with Casey Neistat, I'm not too sure, but they're awesome, right? And they've tuned these babies. I guess that's why they don't want people messing with their settings, because they trust that whatever they've given you as presets will work. Bottom line, for $100, they sound pretty good. They don't sound great, not WF, you know, 1000 XM4 great, not your Bose Quiet Comfort great, not Sennheiser great, but they're good, right? This will pass for most of the average listener. The bass feedback is solid, highs are decent, but they do start to get tinny at really high volumes. In terms of volume, there's enough here for you to enjoy your music at just above half, which is great, if volume is your thing, which I know is a problem for some people who are not into clarity versus volume. So if you're into volume, for example, the WF-1000 XM4s may not be your thing, because they don't get very loud, but they are probably the best in terms of clarity that I've ever heard in terms of a soundstage. But these get pretty loud, good bass feedback, but they're not going to give you the quality of audio in that level. But again, keep in mind that's almost 3 times the price of this, so something to consider. They sound good, bottom line. In a world where headphones are essentially saturated when it comes to design patterns, these will stand out just a bit because of that transparency feel that they're bringing to the table. You know, the whole, this is nothing. And the name alone, you know, they ask you, what's that? Oh, it's nothing. What's that? Oh, it's nothing. The guy might slap you, but then you have to explain that nothing is the name of the company. They're okay. They're pretty good. For the price, I think they're very competitive. I went for the black because I'm not sure how well the white will hold up to wear and tear. My friend does have one, and I'm beginning to see scuff marks, especially on the case, which is much brighter than this, the white version. So if you leave this sliding around, you're gonna get scuffs on it. It's probably gonna be smoky in no time. But this black's probably gonna be a bit stronger in terms of being able to resist that sort of harm, but I would advise babying it a bit, putting it in a soft cloth or putting it in your pocket, don't slide it around when you don't need to. And that's my take. If you want to go into the ecosystem for the nothing ecosystem, kind of like what Carl Pei built back in OnePlus, where they had that small family that grew into a behemoth, this is maybe your way in. I think it works for the price it kicks out. I think if you really want to know how it synchronizes with the rest of the ecosystem and then make up your mind, we have a nothing review you can check out later. But as for the headphones, I think they're worth the money they're pushing them for. Again, this is very niche. They only sold it in certain places when they did a launch. I think they did a StockX drop. So they're already building that ecosystem of followers. And I can't, again, just like I said in my Nothing review, I think the next iteration is probably gonna be much better in terms of listening to the community, figuring out what they want, and taking it to the next level. At least that's what I think. Anyway, and that's my time. I'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to know about these and I will answer them in the comments below. Take care.